All right, it looks like we are live, gentlemen. So, salutations, YouTube. Heath Wanamaker, aka Bruce Wayne, coming at you from Gotham. I have a fine crew of gentlemen with me here today. We are going to be playing Fantasy Age, the newest piece of literature out by Green Ronin, an adaptation of the old Dragon Age game using the Age system, which I think is fantastic. I hope everybody else is going to enjoy using it and that we have fun today. So, you can find me at Gaming in Gotham on YouTube. You can also check out my WordPress, Gaming in Gotham at WordPress. And I will let my players introduce themselves. And if they would also like, they can introduce their characters. I will start with the gentleman directly to my left, and that would be Caius.
So, hi, my name's Caius, and I'll be playing Seth Brassmantle, chainmail wearing, shield carrying, solid dwarf of the Brassmantle Breweries clan, and he's joined the guild. He's joined the guild of the Steel Legion, looking for adventure and looking for new recipes for brewing the best ales in the world. And I'll pass it on to Andrew.
Hey guys, Andrew Knapp here. I am going to be playing Durgden. Durgden is a guilder. He's an axe maker. He was the son of an axe maker, but his grandfather made spoons, so don't ask or inquire too far back. Durgden is very much a craftsman. He's a dwarf fighter, two-handed. He joined the Steel Legion looking to perfect his craft, learn about making new weapons, and get a little bit of money in the process.
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm going to be playing Larengar, an elf of some notorious contempt. Some people would call him a wanderer, some would call him a sage, others would call him a bum. Either way, he doesn't really like to stay in one place too often. Likes to explore the deep wilds, likes long walks on the moonlit nights, holding the hands of some creature that he's killed. But either way, he doesn't like to spend much time in cities. He likes to see new places, new things, new people, always striving outwards. Bow at one side.
All right, fantastic, gentlemen. So, again, through your various means of your own, you have found yourselves as members of the Steel Legion Guild. Now, the Steel Legion Guild Hall it's a small keep nestled into the side of a mountain. Its walls are 15 feet high, 50 yards on the side. The main building is made up of 3 levels. On the primary level, the one that you have access to, there's a mess hall, library, your lodgings, and such things of the sort. And only those permitted can go to the 2nd level, and the 3rd level is the Guildmaster's personal. Now, the Steel Legion is not a large guild by any means, but its members are some of the best in their respective fields, whatever that may be. It's sparsely furnished as well, though it has the makings of greatness in its future. Now, the Steel Legion will break its members typically up into teams of 2 or 4, depending on skill levels, specialties, and the like, in the attempts to make a group that can support each other and work well together. You 3 just so happen to be one of those groups that has came together. So you are all currently in the mess hall. It's a large room, long rows, wooden tables. The smell of stew is piping out from a room in the back. You can hear the sounds of pots clattering as the chef goes about his business. And there's a dozen or so other members in here. Some in groups of their own, others as of yet to be assigned a group. And they're all chewing away at the delicious stew that the chef managed to scrounge up today. So at this point, you all have agency and can tell me what it is your characters are doing or thinking or whatnot.
Well, I suppose Durgden is finishing off his meal, polishing off probably his fifth or sixth tankard of ale. And as he's looking around the room, he's trying to measure up these other groups that have formed, trying to see how he's did compared to some of the other lower members of the guild.
So, peering around the room, there's probably about 4 other groups you notice consisting of between 3 and 4 people, and they all seem to have someone who looks to be the source of some type of frontliner, whether he's rocking a spear, a two-handed axe, a sword, and a shield. But that's a staple in almost every group. And then they have a few other members. Some look maybe shadowy, roguish ranger types, a few mages. But they're definitely, the guild master has definitely made it a point of trying to make groups that complement each other. But it does seem that in all the groups, pretty much all of them, there is a mage. So as far as that front, you guys are lacking. But you have, strangely enough, you have two big warriors, 2 stout dwarves in yours. No other group has that.
So does anybody stick out as kind of like the alpha dog, like the adventurer or the merc that everybody else is looking up to?
No one in here does, and that's because there are the junior guild members and the senior guild members. Now, only the senior guild members are permitted to go onto the 2nd floor, and that's because there are notice boards for jobs. There's one on the 1st floor, one on the 2nd floor. The jobs on the 2nd floor are notoriously more difficult than those on the 1st floor. However, there aren't as many senior members as there are junior members, and they're all currently away on missions. So everyone in here is relatively on equal terms. There might be a figure or two, which if there are or there are not, you can tell me, that looks as though they might be trying to throw their weight around as superior. Maybe they've been on more missions than anybody else and thinks they have a shot at going to the 2nd floor.
Okay, so I purvey the room, I measure everybody, look them up and down real good, and then I turn to my compatriots, Seth and Larengar, and I lick a really salty, cracked lip, face that's kind of carved out of stone, weathered looking, and I bark out over the empty tankard. Well, lads, look like we're going to have a chance at finally making it to the 2nd floor. Didn't send us much competition. Ha!
And Seth downs the last bit of his pint, slams it heavily down on the table, and says, "Aye, nothing to put the wind up a dwarf here," he says, eyeing everybody else in the room.
Larengar, who up until this point has just been quietly peeling an apple very slowly with a knife, watching everybody else, and it's just in one long, continuous strip as he goes on. Finally reaches the end and lifts the end of the peel up and just goes, "2nd floor. Lads, don't go walking before you can crawl. We'll go do this job, then we'll show them what's for, right? Dwarves, always too hasty."
Yeah, he's a very short man, but his aspirations look high. All he can imagine is on the 2nd floor, like these fine plush surroundings, open alcohol, hookahs, like the officership. It's his dream, and he's going to go for it.
He's got a pretty grand vision of what it looks like up there, huh?
Yup. probably busty barmaids walking around in scantily clad clothes. It's like the gentleman's club of the Steel Legion.
Fantastic. So, as you guys sit there in your little group, finishing off your stew, everybody's kind of kicking back, bowls are in the middle of the table, empty. Looks like the chef is coming out to do some picking up. You hear a voice, and you recognize the voice as Octavius, the guild master, and he can be heard speaking through a network of brass tubes that snake through the keep, ending in large phonographs in various different rooms. And he simply asks that the Steel Legion members assemble in the main hall. And as he finishes, moments later you see different groups getting up, hastily moving in that direction.
Seth takes his beer mug, goes over to the barrels, and chooses the best of the six and fills up his beer mug, and then makes his way through to the chamber where everybody else is going, with the sour expression on his face, muttering, "I hope the beer's better on level 2.
With gold in his eyes, Durgar wipes the froth from his beard, throwing it on the table and leaving the tankard, and he gets up and starts walking with you and says, "Everything's better on level 2. Everything."
It couldn't be much worse."
Lorengar stands up, kind of takes a bite out of the apple, wanders past one table, leans over, picks up a couple more apples. Into the jacket they go. Kind of following behind the dwarves, just shaking his head. Very slowly, very surely, just going, "Probably pile of shite up there, you know. Probably not much better. They send you on all crab jobs. No. It's gonna be shite. They'd like to dress it up." Just follows afterwards, and we're staying at the back of the room so we can be out first.
Alright, well, sure enough, in short order, you guys find yourself gathered in the main hall. And you recognize this as the hall where the stairs that lead up to the second floor are. And you can kind of see up top, behind the banisters, it looks like a notice board with some jobs tacked on it. And then down below, on the level where you guys are at, you see a notice board with various different jobs tacked on it.
So, Heath, I get a view of these stairs, pearlescent, ethereal, like the stairs to heaven, shining on a bright day, and you can just see it, like the hope dancing in my eyes. And I turn to Larengar and I say, "There it is, the stairways to heaven."
Looks like the stairway to the second floor to me, you prick.
Second floor heaven, what's the difference? That's where I was made to go.
One of them involves you being dead, you daft ass. Clip.
When you smack the back of my head, it almost feels like there's marbles or something rolling around in it.
I'm not buying a stairway to heaven either.
So, Dirkden, you are not the only one that kind of looks, in wonderment at this staircase. There's a few other, members who are just kind of nudging each other, giving a point in their eyes. You almost swear you can see stars sparkling in them. A few others just kind of look nonchalant, as if they're unimpressed, And, it's a couple of the members that have assembled walk over to the notice board and they're giving it a look over and snatch a few of the parchments down for jobs. Likely grabbing the best paying ones off the rip. That seems to be a common practice. Because they don't all pay the same, depending on the difficulty, and it's first come, first serve. And they go back and sit down. As you guys sit there assembled, a few moments later, you can hear the clipping of heels on stone echoing down the hall. Then a tall figure comes into view. He probably stands about 6'5", but he's slender in build. His arms clasped behind his back. He's got golden, slick back hair, a pair of round monocles balanced on his nose, a finely trimmed beard. There's a crimson jacket with dovetails and billowing pants, reminiscent of MC Hammer in style, with knee-high, leather boots. And you recognize this as the Guildmaster Octavius. And he is a known mage of some renown. In hushed whispers, people speak that he is a practitioner of blood magic. And slowly, one step after another, head high, looking down his nose at everybody, he moves down the stairs. Finally coming to a stop at the last step, and he speaks. His voice stern, yet quiet. A new assignment has come across my desk recently. While I normally would reserve this for a second-level notice board, all of our senior members are away. And as he speaks, he slowly moves around the room, circling perimeter, his gaze lingering for just moments on the different individuals. Some of them look quite uncomfortable, shaking under his leer, sweat beading on the foreheads. He comes to stand behind one group who are being a bit loud, and leers down at them as his shadow falls across. As you may have come to the conclusion by now, this job will fall upon one of our junior teams, since this cannot wait. And they all kind of snap to attention. And begins to once more walk around and survey the room. I have already selected the team that will be going. And he turns on his heel. However, if they are unable to complete the assignment, and one of the senior teams has not returned, and he slowly walks over once more to another group, peering down at them, someone else will get to have a go at it. What say you? Are you all up for the task at hand, should it fall upon you?
Millstone grit, says Seth, and then says, "Oh, sorry, I've just placed the flavour in that. I've been trying to place the flavour in this beer, and I've finally found it." Takes another sip from his beer and says, "Millstone grit. Now, of course, I'm ready."
I'll join Seth's side and boldly proclaim, "We were born ready. Just go ahead and give it to us now. Save yourself the time."
Dwarves were born ready. Isn't that right, elf? Seth looks over at the elf, just burying his face in his hands. Have a drink.
Almost pointedly, the elf reaches over, picks the tankard up, takes a long sip, and then puts it back in the dwarf's hands, empty.
Born as an elf, but drinks as a dwarf.
And just, I needed that. Aye, we're ready, I think.
So amongst the group, there are you three saying that they're ready, and some other boisterous remarks from some other people. Of course we can do it. It's child's play. Another one talking about how they deserve to be on the second floor. And just the faintest of grins kind of works across the face of Octavius, and he nods, and he says, if only as many members who said that returned to ascend the stairs, we would be much better off. And the color kind of drains from the face of the individual who was so cocksure a moment ago. He said, and he points one finger at you, Durgan, and he says, please step forward.
Quickly I approach.
And you would notice upon him reaching out his long, slender fingers, his nails are they look more like claws. Something else that's whispered amongst other guild members of his foul blood magic practices. He brings another finger over and points at you, Lorengar. Please, step forward.
He's not quite as quick. He pushes up a little slower. It's more that whole, gets up and looks back at Seth briefly with this almost warning look as to say, "You'd better fucking behave," and then moves back up towards like the other two, kind of dusting his hands off and wondering just what the hell he's agreed to sign up for.
And then slowly his finger moves over and stops, pointing at you, Seth. Please, step forward.
Seth takes a step forward and accidentally on purpose sort of nudges into Larendar and just slightly, and then taps him on his back saying, sorry about that. Just unbalancing him a little.
One foot shifts slightly forward.
Oh. Good drinker.
Just over his shoulder. Not now. I told you to behave. Put it back.
Durgden is about 2 inches taller than he was when he entered the room. He's puffing his chest out, peacocking as much as he can in front of Octavius.
Okay. So, without even stealing a glance at the rest of the room, his gaze just kind of lingering over you three, he speaks and says, everybody else, dismissed. And without a moment's hesitation, they just beat feet out of there. They're gone. He waits for the last one to leave, the sound of the door closing. He takes a step forward, his towering frame causing this long shadow to just fall over you. And he reaches inside of his vest and pulls out a piece of parchment. And he snaps his hand and unfurrows. This here is the assignment. I intended to put it on the board. However, it cannot wait for one of the senior teams to return. It must be taken care of immediately, with all due haste. And then he hands the parchment to you, Lorengar.
He takes it very slowly and then basically turns it to start reading it.
So looking at the parchment, you see written in pretty fine calligraphy. It says, Fell Shrine Ruins. A scouting team hired by another family in search of artifacts has yet to return. Requesting help in finding the team's whereabouts and anything of historic value. Compensation will be paid in full upon the safe return of the party or historical pieces. and then there's a noble insignia stamped at the bottom.
A search and rescue job isn't normally so rushed. Octavius. Passing it along. Passing it down the line, essentially. Why the hurry?
Again, his face stern.
It's not even meant in a disrespectful. It's like a normally.
Right. He's kind of a serious fellow. He very rarely cracks any type of emotion. He smile. And if you have, you can roll historical lore and with your intelligence if you have that. You can use the historical lore focus.
My intelligence, but sure.
Since you would have passed the paper around to everybody, you all, if you are so inclined, are more than welcome to make the roll. And if you have historical lore, you can apply that focus.
Yeah, Durgden does read it. He has like a little stone monocle he pulls out, kind of like a jewel worker, sticks it in his eye and holds it into place as he squints, and he's a slow reader, but he manages to make his way across it, and he'll take a gamble. Let's see. Triple ones.
It means nothing at all to you. The only thing that you see, Durgden, is the gold amount and the indication that this sum will be paid for each historical piece. That's all you fucking see. Your tunnel vision straight on that.
So every word is just, or every phrase is just second floor, as I read down the document. And just to clarify, Heath, so I get a stump point from that, a single stump point.
Well, yes. However, the stump points will only be applicable on a success.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. So I save it, and I can use it if I succeed on something else.
Unfortunately, no. The stump points cannot be saved. If you generate them, they have to be used or lost.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Anybody else want to take a crack at it?
It's yeah, I got a 15. No stun.
Okay. And how about yourself, Seth?
Yeah, I'll have a go. I'm just going to test the dice rolling as well, see if I've got it set up right.
Sure.
There's only one. How do I get 3 at a time?
The plus and minus next to the dice, just plus that up to 3, and then click on roll.
So 2, 2, 5.
Okay.
9 total.
Your dice are not currently displaying on the screen. So
I'll try again then. Shall I? They were earlier, weren't they?
For the sake of.
if not, no worries. Should be okay. So what was your roll then that you got?
A total of 9, 2, 2, 5.
Okay. So you're not 100% sure either. However, Lorengar, you do recognize the name Fell Shrine Ruins, and as you
understand,
as you kind of scour, your brain, you know that it is a long since abandoned keep, and it is located deep in a swamp. And some 200 years ago, there was a mage who was delving into dark things, and there was a village at one point in this swamp, and a horrible disease racked that land, and it just seemed to appear spontaneously, and it seemed like overnight the village decimated, the people gone. And a few people, a group of heroes, if you will, went to investigate, and only one ever returned. And a tale was spun about them going in there and getting in a climactic fight with him and eventually slaying him. But the account is kind of iffy at best because the historian was said to have been touched in the head after he returned from the swamp. Never the same person again. And people pretty much steer clear of that, if at all possible. That place, because nobody goes there.
I'm leaving my previous question just hanging there, but the look on Larengar's face is, as you can see, the dawning realization of where we're going is starting to creep. That whole, oh shit! It's not fear, but it's that whole. You're really gonna send us there? What are they doing sending people there? The fuck is going on?
Well, every once in a while, some people are crazy enough to undertake expeditions there, and more often than not, they never return. Nobody knows why. The people who do happen to come out, not the same person that went in.
Which way the look kind of turns into this steeled, and all I can hear is his voice saying, "Second floor, second floor, second floor, second floor." I'm gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna destroy him. I'm gonna throw him into a fire, watch him burn.
Do you choose to relay what information you know about the Fell Shrine Swamp and the ruins within to your party?
Oh yes, yes, it feels pertinent. It's like, you do know where we're going, right, lads?
Yeah, he tells you all the same stuff, what he knows.
It could be nothing, but
At the mention of magic, I kind of buckle down, kind of like an animal before a storm. It's so, like, magic is so foreign to my dwarven brain, I don't understand it. And all I can see is these images of, like, gigantic golems being summoned and raining fire, and I'm like, oh, magic, yeah, maybe the second floor isn't worth it.
oh, come on, it can't be that bad.
My Aunt Gertrude told me one time that there was a golem the size of a city. And you see him throwing something over his shoulders, and he has his hands kind of in an X, and he's quaking.
At which point, Larengar very calmly takes the note, folds it, and shows the gold amount again.
Yes, the gold amount displayed on there is 500 gold pieces for the safe return of the party, and an additional 25 gold pieces per historical piece of value.
So looking at the tone up again and plume out a bit. Then again, Aunt Gertrude was an idiot. She was an 80-year-old spinster with 10 cats. I guess it's worth a gamble.
And almost smugly, Larengar would just look at Octavius and say, and that's how you persuade people.
A master of psychology, of dwarven psychology.
It's not hard. Beer, money, sex.
So Octavius kind of, paces to the left, paces to the right, then comes back to stop once more in the middle. So, gentlemen, do you still feel up to the task, or should I inquire one of the other groups?
No, I will go.
Fantastic. You can procure horses at the stables, and a pack will be provided with some basic necessities for the mission at hand.
Thank you very much.
That is all. You may leave.
Larengar will kind of sort of lead the way and then pass the note to Seth. Go on, have a gander. Just look at that money. Wants to figure out how we're going to actually do all this.
Seth nods at the guildmaster and says, "You've chosen well, Octavius," and turns on his heel and starts wandering out after Larengar.
Yeah, I'll pop the eyepiece out that I've been using to read with and stash it away. It was a rare pleasure, sire.
Yes, undoubtedly. So he stands there, arms behind his back until you guys exit. The guild hall is actually the large hall directly as you would enter the main building of the keep. So as soon as you guys step out, you see the courtyard, and it's about 50 yards on the side, modestly sized, but there's not a whole lot there in the ways of buildings. The courtyard itself is not super well taken care of, but there is a functioning stables. There's about a dozen horses in there available to guild members, and a few wagons as well to these summer missions. There are some remaining for you guys. When the horses are all gone, it pretty well falls on you guys to procure your own transport at that time, but you're in luck. So you will find that, and there's a pack, and inside the pack, there's some rudimentary stuff that could be used for the mission: rope, hooks, etc., whatever you feel may or may not be in there. And there are 6 vials, and you do recognize these vials as to be healing potions. And from the looks of it, there's enough for 2 apiece. Now, it's worth noting that should you consume a vial, it will heal 2d6 plus your constitution and hit points.
So as Seth was walking over to the stables, swinging quite obviously the scroll in his hand so any other guild members could see what we've got and that we've got the mission, he'll be saying 500 gold pieces to himself, loudly enough for any other guild members to hear, and just nodding to himself contentedly.
Walking behind in Seth's wake, kind of pointing at the gawkers. Hey, you can find me on the 2nd floor when I get back. Hey, Arnold, yeah, I'm going to be up there on floor number 2. 2, buddy, 2.
Larengar's sat behind, just shaking his head at the 2 dwarves, and anybody who looks at him, he'll just kind of give this look and do this. We'll be back. Just, doing up.
Yeah, there's definitely
something new.
At the boasting of Durgden and Seth's mention of all this gold they're going to get, the members that are outside, in the courtyard practicing, there are some venomous glances thrown your way, and a couple times the sound of snot being hawked into someone's mouth and spat on the ground. Some people are definitely envious. So if there's nothing else you gentlemen would like to do, I assume that you saddle up, yes?
Nothing comes to mind. Saddle up, get the horses, find a rough map of the direction we're going.
See, there is a map present in the pack. From the looks of it, it'll probably be about 2 days' ride before you come to the outskirts of the swamp. And looking at the map, the swamp is large, quite expansive. There's no real cartography on the map with really any information about paths or whereabouts of any type of settlements or anything in the swamp. It's pretty much just shows you a big area and words written over it. Fell Shrine Swamp. So, about 2 days later, you guys begin to near it. You can see it off in the distance, and the sky overhead is getting dark. It was kind of like a light white, and as you get closer, it's getting darker and darker until it's gray, and you can hear thunder rumble across the ground and see lightning streaking above the clouds. And slowly, rain begins to fall. And as you come up the road, there is a trail that juts off to the left, heading directly into the swamp. It's probably a couple 100 yards. It looks like it's not seen much use, if any. Hard to see, almost overgrown. So you guys turn to go down, and again, as you near, the rain starts to fall harder and harder until it's a pretty consistent, not quite coming down hard, but just a very consistent, heavier rain. And the path finally, the grass like almost seems to like die away and gets patchier and patchier until it's just weeds and mud, and large trees loom up before you. And looking a little bit deeper, you can see there's like a low fog running across the ground.
Seth will dismount because he doesn't want to go into a swamp mounted in case it's hard on the horse, or the mule that he's probably riding actually. And he'll sniff the fog, see if it's natural or smells of anything unnatural, magical.
So sniffing around, doing a rudimentary, look around. Everything seems to be normal, nothing out of the ordinary, though something that seems a little peculiar to you is in the past, 2 days travel there, it's been clear blue skies everywhere. So if you would like to, anybody could make an intelligence roll to see if they have any recollection of what's up with these strange weather patterns. Perhaps they've read something in a book. I don't know.
I'll make a roll, see if somebody's told me anything in a pub.
Yeah, why not?
I'll go for it just because I'm a character that spends most of his time out and about. He may have been somewhere else with roughly similar weather patterns. Yeah.
Alright, so we got the 12 Durgan. You have an intelligence to add?
Yeah. +1, so it'd be 13.
Okay. And how about yourself, Seth?
1, 2, 1.
You ever heard any tales in a pub? And if you did, you were too drunk to remember. However, Durgan, you have heard, matter of fact, someone talking in a pub who went round about this area, and it seemed that when they came here as well, it was also raining. and you suspect that this might be one of those places where it's just almost a perpetual rain for whatever reason, whatever freakish weather pattern. It's always raining around and inside the Fellshrine Swamp.
Okay.
So there's no real explanation as to why, but it always is. So you suspect that this is probably going to make for... The swamp is already wet. And with the constant rain, you have an inkling that the terrain might be treacherous ahead.
So, pulling back a hood that I'm wearing, you can see that... Actually, I should ask, is it cold or warm, Heath, climate-wise, where we're at?
It's kind of like spring, not too cold, not too hot, but with the rain and the little bit of breeze coming through, it's a bit more chill in this area.
Okay, so I'm really, really soggy looking when my hood comes back here. My hair is kind of clumped together on my beard. Some of the braids are coming undone, like frizzled a bit. And I turn to our ranger, Laringar, and I say, "Every time I've heard about this place, it seems to be raining. This can't be a coincidence."
It could be all that fucking magic shit, says Laringar, just kind of staring across the swamp, even as he's getting off the horse and, pulling the bow loose. Even though he's not wearing much of a hood, he doesn't seem to be bothered by the constant rain. Even though it looks matted, but he just looks weathered and inured to it to a degree. Almost like it's not there, even though it is. Just kind of brushes his lower lip whilst he half crouches to almost get a better look over the swamp, and then tastes the air himself. I see we stick to the shore for the time being and then press in a little further. It should be alright, but I'm not sure about the horses.
Yeah, I look down at my horse, and he's kind of up to the shin in mud.
Last thing we want is one of them to panic. God knows what else, Christ knows what else is in here. Next thing we know, we could lose a horse. We gotta bring them with anyway. Right, lads, we lash them together.
So
nothing too drastic, mind.
Hearing you say that, who knows what else is in here? It kind of hangs in the air like a dead man from a tree, and Durgden just keeps hearing it over and over and over and over, and he quickly starts feeling about his body, and out of his pocket he pulls out this long cord of garlic cloves and strings it around his neck, like he heard somewhere that garlic wards magic.
So Durgan's a very superstitious type, it seems like. Where did he get that garlic from, huh? Who knows what else he's got in there?
His food supplies are very exotic. Mostly garlic and cheese, but...
So, you guys kind of steel yourselves and begin to march inward. And you notice that it's got a lot of large trees with big gnarly roots sticking up out of the water. The ground is patchy at best. When I say patchy, I mean what is not overrun or consumed by the swamp itself. But there are some paths that you can stay on that leads deeper into this. It's like a spider web of land. So you guys enter in, and you're kind of getting the lay of the land, and you're checking out your map, and your map is almost useless because, again, there's no markings on it about anything inside the swamp. So you're just kind of doing the best you can. to stay on the compass rose and hit deeper. And about a half. Oh, go ahead.
So you say there are some trees growing out of the marsh. As we pass each tree, I'll just hit the bark with my mace to kind of try and make a trail of wounds on the trees that we can follow the same track out.
Very nice.
Larangar is not looking, doesn't look like he's looking in any particular direction, and hearing the little chunk in every direction, he's like, every now and again he'll glance back, but then he's like his gaze fixes more on what you can see of the sun, and it's just like he just keeps, like it's like he's internally checking every, what is that? Yeah, north still that way. Yeah, north still that way.
So looking up, trying to get some bearings of the sun as well, you do notice that it is kind of difficult because the trees reach high, and the canopy, while not thick and jungle-like, is fairly dense. And with the clouds overhead, every once in a while when you can't glimpse it, it's just kind of like a faint glowing orb behind these clouds. And you notice it's getting a little bit more difficult to see the deeper you go. And the fog, the mist that's hanging to the ground is getting thicker, and more remnants are kind of wisping up into the air, as if shrouding your vision, like looking through a veil at everything.
It's funny, it's his turn to, like, he slows down by a tree, pulls a knife. It's not so much the same, not the same as the mace, but it's like, he's starting to do the same thing as well. It's like, all right, I guess we can't do this the old-fashioned way.
I'll
and if
look
the mist
at
is getting thicker, he'll be like, he'll try to stick to the thinner parts, but it's getting obvious that it's going to be very easy to get lost here, no matter how experienced you are. Like, this is not going to be easy. It's great, isn't it?
Seth looks at the poxy knife wound in the tree and just shakes his head and gives it a good bash with his mace.
You can hear that too when you hit the tree, that sound of something hard, that echoey, that sharp strike, is kind of echoing throughout the swamp and coming back.
He turns around to the other two and says, "Stealth was never my best suit."
I'm starting to notice that. And even through the echo, it's like Larangar, he's speaking quiet enough to not be heard, but you guys hear him. It's like there's no echo to it, because he is quite naturally stealthy. It's like he moves in that way. Everything knows we're here now.
Well,
look.
I grasped the garlic clove.
Think of the money. Think of the money.
So moving a little deeper, once more you can hear thunder rolling and lightning striking, and you can see off in the distance this lightning coming down and just careening into the water every once in a while. The swamp it seems to be almost like a giant rod holding the wrath of the gods down into it. And every once in a while when that happens, it kind of illuminates through the fog, and you can see, the gray and black silhouettes of the vegetation and trees around you. You can hear the constant pattering of rain falling, hitting the ground, and splashing into the water on either side of you. But something else seems a little peculiar. You're walking around following what you can perceive as paths for about 45 minutes to an hour at this point, Yet not once have you heard the croaking of toads, the chirping of crickets, seen any form of birds in trees. It's as if this place is abandoned entirely.
So, kind of making an expose on what I'm noticing. Back when I was a lad, I used to go down to the old swamp with a burlap sack and fill it up with toads and frogs and all kinds of things. Aunt Gertrude used to fry those suckers in butter. They're pretty good. But I don't see any frogs around here.
You don't see anything around here. This ain't right, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah, he scratches underneath his chin, kind of coming to realization at what you said. You know, you're right. I haven't seen anything in here other than us.
And Seth's beard has been slowly rising to show that he's getting nervous himself, because his beard stands on end whenever he gets nervous. And he says, "Down in the mountain, we never heard storms, and I hate the sound of thunder. I just haven't got used to it yet. But I'm not worried," he says, lying.
Okay.
Where did all these people go? There's gotta be something.
So, more trekking ahead, and you come to a moat of land, if you will, probably about 10 feet on a side across. And on either side of this, and along the path, on either side of the path, and just all throughout, again, you just see water with these jags of land moving across it. And so far, this has been probably the largest patch that you've come across. The one that you've been walking on is probably about 2.5 feet wide. You guys are walking, in a line, single file. So what I'd like you gentlemen to do is go ahead and make a perception check. The part that you're on, you see that there's two paths that kind of V off. The one that you came on, arrived on this chunk with, and then the two ahead of you. Yeah. What about you, Seth? What did you get for your perception?
11.
11? Lauren is really taking the lay of the land in.
Yeah, I got a 13.
Alright, so Lorengar, you notice as you're looking around, there appears to be what look like cattails, but they've been braided and bent as if an indicator of sorts. And you might recognize this as a tactic for marking your trail, because this is clearly something not natural and would be easier to spot.
He stops, slows down, and moves slightly inland so that you can get close to. Kind of has a shimmy up because it's one of those. See if it's got like markings on it, or somebody was here, or at least at some point they were. This is ranger sign, like I was doing with the tree, only far more obvious. And then it's even more obvious than your bloody mace.
As we turn around and look at this line of broken trees.
No. You see, trees break all the time. You can explain trees breaking. It's nature. Even in a line. gust of wind, lightning streak. But this, he kind of flicks the cattail. Ain't quite right. Look it up, goes all the way that way. Let's say what, east?
So it's the cluster of cattails that have been kind of braided together, then bent over. It looks as though they're indicating to the right. There's two trails, one that kind of branches off to the right, and one to the left. So
These say right. I say we go right.
I agree, Larangar. Sounds like a good idea.
I trust you in this environment as far as I can trust any elf, of course.
To be honest, lads, I don't trust this environment, so I'm just trying to pick up where I think people have gone. People have left directions saying they're going right. We follow the directions they leave. Eyes open, mouth shut, right? Well, I might have needed some more of that booze yet. At which point, Larangar will kind of push off and start striding.
alright, so taking the lead, Lorengar, you notice that the trail that you're walking on, started off about 2.5 feet. And it's getting narrower and narrower and narrower until it's scantly more than 10 inches across. And it is very, very slick with the rain and the mud. So as you proceed down this precarious perch, I would need you and everybody else to make...
As it's starting to slick down, I was going to say, Larangar was just going to... Do you want to tie a rope around that tree there? This doesn't look too secure. If that's okay.
Sure. You probably got about 50 feet of rope.
It's better than no.
I don't think that's going to be enough to get you all the way across. And with the fog, you can't really see much ahead of you, just this path, this narrow path, and then the dark, murky water on either side.
It's not going to be big enough, is it? I guess we're going to have to risk it. Alright, fine.
Still, I think your idea of the rope is a good one. If we sort of spread out along the rope, if somebody gets into trouble, we can drag you out of any quicksand or something like that, and we each hold a bit of the rope.
Alright. And he kind of... He takes the rope and kind of lashes it to himself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that he's secure, but... So, if worse comes to worse, rip the knot. He just like... We might be adventurous, but I don't want any fucking heroes if it's fucking a dragon or something.
Who wants to go in the middle? Who wants to go out the back?
I'll stay up front.
How big are you, Seth, for a dwarf?
It is worth mentioning that dwarves are fairly broad. So to you guys, you're kind of 1 foot in front of the other, almost tightrope walking on this patch of ground.
I'm slightly shorter than average height, but I make up for it round my waist.
Okay. I would say then I should probably be in the back because I'm short even for a dwarf, and I don't want a situation where I'm off the ground holding the rope. So yeah, Durden will say, "I'll take up the back. Don't worry about it."
As you like. So I'll thread the rope and hand it back to Durden, and then we'll spread out about 20 feet between each guy. And
Sure.
Proceed like that.
So you guys get yourself all looped together and begin to proceed down this. Now, if you'd be so kind as to give me your dexterity checks, And if you have balance as a focus, you can apply that. Okay. And everybody else?
So
50.
5.
5. Okay.
No, 13 plus 2, 15. 15 total.
All right.
5,
So
4, 4.
Durgan and Lorengar, you find that the ground kind of gives way beneath you and sloshes into the swamp. And Durgan, you fall to the left. Lorengar, you fall to the right and end up in the drink. And as you hit the water, you notice that it's cold. Strangely cold. There's something about it doesn't feel right. It's almost like you can feel it in your bones, and your breath is coming in short gasps. And what's going to happen is Durden, you take 2 points of penetrating damage. Now, penetrating ignores armor. And Lorengar, you take 3 points of penetrating damage as this just unnaturally cold water washes over you. And Lorengar, being the taller of the two, it's almost chest height up to you. Barely, just your shoulders and head are above this water. So you're stuck in the middle of these two, Seth, as they splash into the swamp on either side.
Okay, I'll concentrate on the dwarf first, on the thinking of my excuses of going for the heavier one first. So I'll try and drag the dwarf out first.
Laying with my back in the cold water, I started to like shrivel up in the worst of places, and I just start flailing around, splashing water. How deep is it, Heath?
So for you, it would definitely be, over your head. So you have 2 choices. You can rely on Seth to try to pull you out, or you're going to have to make a swim check to stay afloat, and then next turn you can try to pull yourself out. Now I should mention that every round that you remain in this deathly cold water, you're going to take damage.
Alright, my guy's a bad swimmer, but I'll try it. I'm flailing around, coughing up water. Help me, lad, I can't swim! Okay, here we go. That's not bad. What does swimming go off of, Heath?
That's off your strength.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good then. 17. Turns out I can swim.
All right, so you managed to get up. You're doing good. You're treading water and kind of making your way, back over to this little narrow purchase of land.
So as I like clutch at it and start to grab this mud, find purchase, I cough up water and say, "Oh, don't take a swim in that drink. It felt like some old hag reached out and grabbed my nuts with a cold hand."
As you say that, Durden, you kind of see in your peripherals for a moment that looks like there's perhaps a face in the water, perhaps hands or something reaching up to grab you. And when you go to look back, the sight is gone.
So I frantically start to claw up and then stop and look back over my shoulder and say, "Oh, there's some witchery going on. I could have swore I just saw a face down there."
Now, Lorengar, you would be greeted with a similar sight in the water. It just looks like maybe skeletal hands, perhaps, or some, hard to make out visage, just kind of always in your peripherals, as if reaching out, trying to pull you deeper. At which point, you can also try to get out.
Oh, he's going to try. Strength, you say, yeah?
Yeah.
17, but 5 on the stunt dice. I actually succeed.
All right, so that is definitely enough to get yourself out. And it almost just feels like the water doesn't want to let you go as you roll onto this narrow piece of land.
Yeah, there's this moment where it's like he doesn't quite feel the cold for a minute, then he feels it all at once. Whereas for the dwarf, it was reaching every uncomfortable location. To the elf, it chills him to the very bone. A cold he hasn't felt for a very long time. As he looks just to the right, he sort of sees the skeletal hands, and it's like all of a sudden everything moves. This instinct that you can't quite put your finger on. That to most people would be, oh, it's just a survival instinct. No. It's like I am running from death itself. It's like I have kicked death in the jimmies, and I'm running harder. I've gone, oh look,
So what do you make of this, Seth? They pull themselves back up and they look a little worse for wear, almost like maybe some of the colors drained from their face.
Seth takes out some beer from his backpack and says, "Maybe now's the time to break open some of the brass mantle finest," and he hands him a jar of homebrew.
You realise we're still on this little piece of shitty land, right? I think we should get off it first.
You look like you need a drink. I need one.
I want away from this fucking swamp. Right fucking now. Then we'll drink.
Not even a little sip.
I would be afraid to spill it, given the cold.
He puts the topper back on his drink and puts it back in his backpack and just gives a look of, oof.
It's like Lauren goes like, I don't want to commit beer crime. This shit is slippy. God forbid you would never let me live it down if I spilled it. Let's get off this thing now, please. Let's go.
Seth turns to Dirkden and says, "This just got serious."
Yeah, as he coughs and he shakes a little bit, kind of like a wet dog, throwing the water from his body. Keep that drink ready. I'm gonna need it when we get out of here.
So you guys get yourself sorted, kind of get your footing back, and continue to proceed down this narrow patch. And once more find yourself on a small little island, and leading off of that island are various other paths you can see kind of snaking around, some intertwining. So what I'd like you to do is make a perception check once more, gentlemen. If I should have mentioned to you, if you have the sight focus, you can apply that.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you'll see it, Durgan.
I've got 9 with a stunt dice of 4.
All right, so Durgan and Lorngar will see it. Unfortunately, Seth, you do not notice it. But once more, you kind of spot that peculiar formation of cattails, with the ends bent down as if gesturing, in a particular direction.
And there you are again. Follow these again, lads. It led us so well the last team.
Yeah, grabbing the belt on the front of my pants and kind of readjusting myself, I say, hopefully things went better for our predecessors.
Well, it looks like it. They got far enough to leave another trail. Probably lost a member or two, though.
Maybe that's that spirit I saw back there in the water. Some vengeful adventurer that never made it to the second floor.
Hello, as he kind of looks over his shoulder. Or it could be the spirit of an entire community trapped in the sewer, trying to rip what remains of your beer out of your soul.
Do you think so?
And I grab my jacket and pull it tight.
Well, absolutely, lad. I mean, why else would I move so quickly? He was trying to get rid of my beer, too.
So I'll
Seth
nurse
goes
it
and,
heavily. Oh,
Seth goes and smooths down his beard.
Be glad you
Which was
didn't
rising
fall
again.
that shade, Seth. It was colder than a witch's tit in there. Before he kind
Sounds-
of readjusts himself and he's kind of, we go this way.
So as you gentlemen proceed, you find yourself once more in just one of those precariously perched pieces of land, exceptionally narrow, and a little bit way, off in the distance through the swamp, you can see some other patches of land zigging and zagging, jutting this way and that, and you think you can make out some that are wider. Almost longingly, you might wish that you were there instead of on this narrow piece of shit. But unfortunately, you find yourself in a very similar situation that you did before, following these cattail markers. So everybody go ahead and give me another dexterity check to keep your footing. Wet, muddy, narrow piece of land as rain falls around you. Lightning strikes and thunder rolls. All right, Durgan, you are fine.
It's me this time. 12.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Seth finds himself losing his footing. It slips, slick with mud, and goes plummeting into the drink. And as you hit the water, you feel the same sensation that they felt. This unnatural cold, just overwhelming you, almost working its way into your bones. And you're going to end up taking 3 points of penetrating damage. Now, as I said to them, typically when you take damage, your armor will soak the damage, but penetrating will ignore it entirely.
Mm-hmm.
So, with a hearty splash, you guys see Seth straight into the water.
Oh no, Seth! The beer!
Goblin yeast! He shouts and starts trying to drag himself out. Following Durgden's swimming expertise, he'll try the same sort of tactic of flailing madly and scooping with anything he can to get out of the water.
All right, so be a swim check, so 3d6 plus your strength, and if you have the swimming focus, you can apply that.
No swimming focus, so let's have a look. 12, 13, 15 with a stunt dice of 6.
All right, so Seth, the rotund fellow he is, looks like a bobber, quickly, despite his girth, just bobbing straight back to this path.
He look.
Go ahead.
He looks like when you hold a sort of barrel of air underwater and suddenly let it go and it just goes whoosh out of the water. There's this explosion as he just sort of finds something solid to push off and flies out almost as quickly as he flies in.
So you too feel it as you're getting out, like the water just doesn't want to let you go, and you swear, you see kind of in your peripherals almost a skeletal visage and hands reaching out from beneath the water, and should you go to look, it's gone.
Seth turns wildly to the other two. Did you see that in the water? He's sort of spinning round, getting himself stuck in. He actually spins round in a circle, so he's actually wrapping himself around the rope because he's forgotten about the rope, and he finds himself pinned by the rope. But he's going, "Did you see that? Did you see that in the water?"
Larengar just nods. Now you understand why we didn't want to fall in again.
I thought you just didn't like bathing.
No. It's because of the shite that's in there. Now turn yourself the other way very slowly.
Right. So he unwinds and sort of straightens down his beard again, and coughs and says, "Pints and women. I wasn't scared."
All right. So, gentlemen, proceed down like a godsend. It begins to widen inch by inch until it's about 2 feet across. You can still feel it stall and give way beneath you, but compared to what it was, this is as good as any solid ground. And you can see off in the distance through the fog what looked like 2 thin black silhouettes. As you approach, they kind of get bigger and bigger, and the path widens up a little more until once more you find yourself on one of these little islands, and before you are 2 wooden posts rising up about 3 feet and a bit of stairs leading up. And those stairs are connected to long wooden slats, about 3 of these wooden slats, making a bridge that's about a foot wide each, about a 3-foot wide bridge. You can see it just reaching out into the mist before being consumed by it. And again, you feel like you believe you can see what looks like 2 more of these silhouettes as a post for these to lay on.
Larengar will stop, and kind of dust himself off and look back at these cattails and kind of half trace their path, realise they're kind of leading to the bridge, pull something out of his own pack, which is like something the same. He kind of tie his own cattail off on the tail of the bridge and kind of have it pointing, like as if to say, "You were here." And it's just right, just in case we need to run back this way.
Let me take a look at this.
Seeing the bridge, and I'm going to walk up to it. Since we're in a swamp, it's pretty moist and wood can get rotten pretty quick. I have the engineering focus. I want to try to look at the stability of the bridge.
All right.
And whether he wants it or not, I'll give him the benefit of my opinion as well. I'll be sort of telling him everything I know and irritating him probably whilst I'm giving him my opinion on everything that he's looking at.
Dwarven inspection.
All right. So it's going to give you, the focus will give you +2 for the engineering.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. 39. So I got a 10.
I got a 12.
All right. Well, you're both giving it a good look over, kind of walking up, as much of one side as you can before the land drops off into the water. Rubbing your finger on it, you're getting a little lick, and you definitely suspect that there's some type of mold or wood rot at play here. From the looks of the bridge, it's very old, and you suspect almost a miracle that it's held up this long under such duress from the water and constant rain.
So I'll turn to Seth with a furrowed brow and say,
It looks pretty moldy. I don't think I'd like to step on it.
Haven't seen worse. I haven't seen wood in worse condition since I inspected the barrels of the Green Guild's ale cellar. This is bad quality wood. I wouldn't trust it with even an elf. Sorry, I'll drop the elf jokes.
There's this long pause, even as the elf is looking across the bridge and says, "You may not trust it, but it looks like it's the only way we've got to go. Unless you want to go back."
Well, we've got the rope for you,
Off
son.
and say we found nothing.
Say that again?
Call this whole thing off and say we found nothing.
Well, if we have to cross, we have to cross. Seth, you and I are fairly large individuals. Maybe we should stand back and let someone lighter go first.
I look round for somebody lighter to volunteer.
I realise they're both looking at the elf. I guess I'll go.
We've got the rope for you. Don't worry.
The rope I'm worried about.
Now walk real slow, lad. If it starts to crack, you won't have time to move.
Kind of, as he gets to the post, he looks for side supports.
There's none. It's just about, what you can see is about 20-foot long slats laid out 3 wide between these intermittent support posts.
Spread your weight as much as you can.
It's about 3 feet above the water. There's a little incline you go up to get on the bridge.
This is stupid. This is stupid. Set foot on the bridge.
Alright, so as you climb up onto the wooden bridge, you can hear this old timber groan and protest underneath your weight. And as you move out and get more towards the middle, you can kind of feel and see it bow underneath you.
Just move slowly, feet out, as best as I can. Just.
Alright, so what I need you to do, since you're moving cautiously and all that, give me a perception check. You can use sight if you have it.
And I will. Perception. 15.
Alright, so you managed to spot one of the boards. These long slats looks a lot more worse for wear than the others. You can see like mold almost growing on it, and it looks like it's crumbling away. And with that information, you're keen enough to just no longer put any weight on that particular board, and you make it to the first support pillar just fine. And you see another pair of these 20-foot long boards arcing out over the swamp with support pillars.
Yeah, you almost, you can see this shape in the distance, and then you hear it. Oh shite, there's more bridge. He turns around, takes the kind of tie he's been using and ties it to the essentially so the rotten plank will stand out to the dwarves who may not be as perceptive as him, or it's just it'll be like, do not step on this board, do not step on this board. And then he'll turn back and go, stay careful and look out for the red tays. You can join me here. One at a time. Be careful.
You can tell them what one of the boards that you see in that particular bad case of rot on it to steer clear of that. So with that information in hand, you guys can cross in whatever manner you see fit and meet up with your reliable elf ranger.
Ooh, yeah, I definitely
Great.
will, but before I start walking, once I get up on the wood, I turn to Seth and I say,
This is why they should have hired a dwarf to do the job. Dwarves would have used stone.
Aye.
so with that, start crossing off onto the wood.
All right, so you get across well enough. Thankfully, Lorengar was able to spot the rotten board, so you don't want you avoid that one. But under your weight, you too feel the wood bend and bow, and it groaning in protest until you come to the two support beams, and you also see again another set of these 20-foot slats arcing out across the swamp, and then to be consumed by the mist. You see, Seth, like these two, faint silhouettes through the fog, which you assume are your companions. You didn't hear the sploosh of water, so everything seems well enough.
So Seth will carefully go next, just muttering under his breath, I think I'm going to haggle it up to 550 gold. 500's not enough for this kind of risk. Okay. Do I need to make a roll?
No.
Okay.
So you go just fine, and you see the same side. Another trinity of these slats reaching out, and what faintly look like another pair of support pillars off in the distance. And now you guys would notice, as you start to get out across this bridge on either side of you, there's pretty much no land in sight. No more of those thin, jagged paths, nothing, just what was behind you. And then, lightning flashes across the sky, striking the water below, illuminating the area for a moment. And you think, just for the faintest of seconds, with that illumination, you see what looks like the silhouette of perhaps a head and shoulders bobbing through the water, and then it's gone as the light from the lightning subsides and the mist once more becomes thick and coalesces.
Shite. Alright, we'd best do this. Same procedure as before. If you hear a splosh, I guess, well, you can find your way back.
We've got the rope.
The rope ain't gonna help shite, lad, and you know it. Just start walking.
Alright, so
Slow and careful.
you can go ahead and make a perception check.
$15 again.
All right. So looking around, everything seems okay for the most part, and you notice one of the boards looks pretty badly rotted, and so does the one next to it. The slant in the middle is pretty much where you feel that you're going to have to try to find purchase. But you do end up making it across well enough. And as you do, you see those support beams were connected to it. Looks like almost like a dock of sorts. And then ahead of you, you see this large rise of earth, probably about 10, 15 foot in height. Very, very steep, slick with rain and mud. And then you are presented about 10 feet ahead of you off this dock with a ladder, and it looks like some wooden scaffolding kind of built up with another little piece of dock that kind of heads up onto this ground.
Come across. Watch yourselves. The boards that are rotten, they're a little larger than before. I've marked them again. Best as I can. What shite is this?
All right, here I go.
So, armed with the knowledge of what boards are rotted, with one tentative step after another, you manage to get across and meet up with your elf friend. And you see two of your companions swallowed by the mist, set as black silhouettes off in the distance.
Seth will straighten down his beard and set off after them.
So once more, careful, well-placed steps, and you are on the other side, having met up with them. And you see the same sight, this large rise about 15 foot high of earth, a steep, steep hill extending out as far as the eye can see, and the ladder before you, which leads up onto some scaffolding and some boards to cross over top of this.
Would you like me to go up first?
I look Seth up and down.
Are you a strong climber?
I used to climb the cliffs and pluck eagles' eggs out of the nests to flavour the brew that we used to do in our
Less
one of the.
fucking bravado. Climb or don't climb.
All right then, I'll climb. Fair enough. It's a bad day when an elf tells a dwarf to speak less. I'll head up.
Alright, so you make your way up the ladder and find yourself on that small little, piece of dock, and you can see ahead of you that it wasn't just a rise like a hill. The land itself is actually higher up here, so you see a bunch of flat, welcoming earth before you.
It's grand. It's Earth. Come on up.
Well then, that's all the invitation I need.
And I jump up and grab the ladder.
And there's this moment where the elf is left in
Alright, so you scurry on up aim site.
blissful silence and just goes. A quick look towards where the lake was. Another little red tie. And he goes up.
You guys all get up and kind of step off that little jutting piece of dock onto the flat ground. And the fog, the mist, is still thick, rolling around you. And as you kind of get your wits, you can see trees growing up here too. And you think you can make out on the ground what look like remnants of cobblestones, perhaps. And then you see these four silhouettes kind of shambling along through the mist, coming your way.
Something's coming.
Oh, I don't like the looks of this.
And I pull out my pistol.
Yeah, the minute he saw silhouettes, it was string the bow, pull an arrow, take 2 steps to the left, crouch.
So you can hear the sounds of, through the rain, the slapping of flesh on wet earth. And a few moments later, you see what look like 4 bloated, fetid corpses walking your way, some skin sloshing off, bits of bone protruding at the ribs, and they reach out and lunge. So, gentlemen, go ahead and roll initiative.
What is initiative?
You're going to roll 3d6 and add your dexterity.
Okay.
What was it?
17.
Okay.
6,
Let's
5,
see
4.
here. 13, 16, 17. All right. So you are all going to get to make the first move, and they're probably no more than 8 yards out from you.
Seth says, if this is the adventuring party, they don't look very well, and I'm going to make them even less well, he says, throwing his hand axe at one of them. His throwing axe.
Okay.
Just a moment, let me check my modifications.
So
Mhm.
you're going to use your strength for throwing weapons. So it'll be your fighting.
Yep.
I believe, and then add your strength to the damage.
It's a total of 12 with a 1 on the stunt dice.
So that'll hit, and you have 1 stunt point that you can use. I assume you rolled doubles?
Yeah, it was 441.
All right.
Yep.
I believe I sent you that quick reference document. It's got all the stunts laid out.
Uh-huh.
If not, I can send that your way real quick, so you can. It's just got all the combat stunts in one spot you can look at.
I don't see it. Just a minute. Did you send me it? Well, you must have done through.
I
No,
believe it's
it's
through
on-
Facebook, but I've got it being sent on its way right now.
Okay. Via Google. I mean, via Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
But for 1 stunt point, you have rapid reload, which you can reload a weapon immediately. You have skirmish, which will allow you to move a target 2 yards, or you can move yourself 2 yards.
I'll do a rapid reload, and having thrown my axe, I'll pick up my mace and get ready for hand to hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, sure. All right, so then it's after him. It is our trusty ranger Lorngar.
Well, needless to say, I'm going to shoot one of them. Shoot it in the head, hopefully. Kill the fetid, undead creature. Yay. What does a 15 get me?
That'll hit.
Yeah. Cool. I don't get anything on my stunts, so no doubles or anything.
All right.
And my damage, 1d6 plus that much. It will eat a total of 10 damage.
10. Okay.
Right.
There's that off to the side for you in the Google chat, the Hangout chat, the stunt cheat sheet.
I've already got it up.
Oh, cheers.
That was for
That's
Guy.
for me.
Oh, sorry.
Yep. I forgot to tell you my damage. I didn't roll my damage.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. Yeah.
So, 2 plus 5, 7.
All right. And then Durgan, you're up.
Alright, so I'll level the pistol at the closest one and with a snort, pull the trigger.
So, as you go to do that, it suddenly dawns on you that you had fallen in the water and the powder is wet.
So is it automatic not work or is it like a percent thing?
Well, the pistol is not going to fire. It's your major action to fire, but you still have a minor that you can do something with.
Okay, so what I do is, you see like a toothy grin as I hold it out. I pull the trigger and nothing happens. Click, click, click. Oh, son of a bitch! And I drop it and I'll just draw my axe.
Okay. All right, now it's now it's their turn. So they all shamble forward and reach out, trying to claw and slash at you. And they are going to. The first one is going to attack. Does a 12 hit your AC, Durden, or your defense?
Yeah, yes, it does.
All right, and then it will deal its damage. 5? No, if you have more than 5 armor, you'll just soak it up.
I have 4, so I take 1 damage from it.
Yep. And another one moves to close with you as well, Durgan, and then that's going to miss. Then one moves towards you, Seth. It's going to miss. And one shambles towards you. 15 hit.
Who?
I believe it does. You, Loringar?
Yeah, but yes, that does hit.
Alright, and it's going to use its stunt points.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's got 6 stunt points to use. So what it's going to do is it's going to skirmish twice since you're close to the edge and push you off into the water. But before that happens, it's also going to spend 3 to use its pack tactics. And what that does is, or swarm tactics. This allows other Walking Dead adjacent to the target to make an attack roll. So I assume you're in some type of a line formation, so at least one, like the one by Seth, might be adjacent to you as well, I'm assuming. So it will make an attack. And with its last stunt point, it will... Oh, I'm not sure what else it can do. No, it'll just skirmish 3 times, shove you as far as it can. All right. As far as damage, it does 2. and the one adjacent to it will make its attack. I believe a 10 misses.
Yes, it does. And
Right.
take it. Does I've got an armor of 3, so I take it the 2 bounces.
Yeah, it's however much damage that you take, you'll first subtract from your armor, and then whatever's left you actually take.
Yeah, then it doesn't do any damage from me.
So you see the one zombie just lurch forward, just flailing with its arms, just shoving into your ranger buddy, and kind of barrel over him, and it pushes him off that rise.
Oh shit!
And a moment later you hear sploosh as he hits the water. When you hit the water, it does 2 points of penetrating damage as you feel that icy coldness just seep into you again. And it goes back to the top, which is Seth.
Is the elf still attached to the rope? Are we still attached to each other?
As far as I know, you took the rope off, or did you not?
I don't remember anybody saying that we're taking the rope off.
Well, if that's the case, go ahead and make a strength check to resist getting yanked down with him.
Okay.
This could be bad.
13.
All right, you just make it. You feel a pretty sharp tug, but your rotund form and low stance is able to resist being yanked with him. So you're kind of bobbing on the end of that in the water, Lorengar. Now, if you would like to continue with your turn in whatever manner you so choose.
I'll just try and straight hit it with the mace.
Okay.
I'll ignore the fact that I'm being pulled by the rope and just plant myself, try not to move, and just hit this attacking thing with my mace. So,
Alright, so it's
15.
Alright, so just to make sure that you know, since you never used the system before, it's you're fighting to hit.
Yep.
And then you also have bludgeons as a focus. So that should give you +2 to hit. I believe I have that written down like where it says attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
15 will connect.
15. That with focus it's 17 then.
Oh yeah, that hits.
And the damage will be 2d6. Do I add anything to the? No, it's just a straight.
Plus your strength.
Plus my strength, so 2d6 plus 3. $13. I bring my mace down on it for 13 points damage.
Yeah, you thump it real good, like you stave in a piece of its skull, but it's it feels no pain, it knows no fear, but it is fucked up.
Are you ready for more?
And then I believe that will go to Lorengar.
As a minor action, I'm going to unsecure the rope.
Okay.
Because Lorengar realizes it's there because he's like, I'm not moving right. Why am I not moving? Oh, that's why I'm not moving right. And as my major action, I'm going to get the hell out of this water.
All right, so you got to make a strength check, climbing if you have it, to grab the dock and pull yourself up. But since you started your turn in the water, you are going to take 3 points of penetrating damage.
That's fine. Ish. Hmm. 15.
All right,
Nice.
you haul yourself up onto the dock.
Oh, I hate this day. Oh shit, it's behind me.
So you're actually on the dock below. So you're going to climb back up the ladder to get up there with them. And Durden, you are up.
So I see the zombie that knocked Lorengar off standing at the edge, and I'm going to jump over behind him and go, "My turn!" and take a swing at him with the two-handed axe.
Right.
Wow, it's bad. It'd be 11.
That does hit.
Thank God for my fighting skill. Okay, so since I have the two-handed, I get to knock him 2 yards, and I'm going to knock him over the edge if he's close enough.
2 yards should just about do it. Yeah. Yeah, because you guys just got on the land and didn't move much further, so that'll put him over.
Alright, sweet. And I'll roll my damage here. 7.
What's it look like when you send this thing tumbling down that steep slope?
Alright, so it does 12 points of damage. So I go, "My turn!" And I jump behind him and take it and clobber him on the back of the head with the blunt side of the axe, and he snaps down and like tumbles head over heel down into the water.
Okay. So you hear a sploosh a couple feet out from where you landed, Lorengar, and you see what looks like a bloated body just kind of bobbing.
Yeah, the way I'd film it is it's just like as Lorengar's pulling himself up, you just hear this splish, and the eyes go,
But the other zombies are going to proceed now. I want to move and kind of begin to surround the 2 dwarves up there and make their attacks. So first one. 13, does that hit your AC, Durgan? Or I keep calling it AC, your defense?
Yep, it does.
Alright, so damage. Yeah, you soak it. Then the 2 that were on you are going to attack Seth. That misses. That misses. And the one in the water is going to try to haul itself up onto the dock. But it's not quite able to do it. It's grabbing and just kind of flailing, kind of reaching up. You can see these hands slapping onto the boards beside you, Lorengar. It goes back to the top of the order, Seth.
Okay, just to let you know, I couldn't get access to the Google Drive. You need to approve access or something for my
Oh, my
for me to
Lord.
read that. So
No, I know.
anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll swing. I'll try and get under the one that I've wounded and swing again with my mace.
Okay.
See if you can take another one. Take another one to their kneecaps.
Okay.
So, 21 with a 6 stunt dice. 6 stunt.
Oh,
Yes.
good Lord. All right. So with 6, you have a few options.
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Blow costs 2 for an extra 1d6. You could also Dual Strike for 4, and your attack is so strong it affects 2 targets. So you can pick a secondary target adjacent to the first, and it will also take whatever you roll for damage. Lightning Attack is another good one for 3, where you can make a completely new attack. Lethal Blow is 5 stunt points for 2d6 extra damage on the attack.
So I've got 6 stunt points. I can do more than one.
Yeah, you can buy multiple ones.
So I'll do the lightning attack was how many points?
That one's 3.
3, and I've got 6. So I'll do a lightning attack I'll do the double attack. That was 2. I can't remember the name, but
the dual strike is 4.
dual strike is 4.
You could lightning attack and mighty blow. So your next attack you could either apply the mighty blow to this attack or the next one for an extra 1d6 damage. If you dual strike and mighty blow, it'll apply it to both of them.
I'll dual strike and mighty blow then. See what happens with that one.
So you get an extra d6 on your damage. Whenever you roll, they both take it.
Okay. 3, 3, 1, 7 plus my strength, 10.
Alright, so you outright kill one. What's it look like when you kill this one and come careening through into the next?
So, the first one that I've already half smashed in its head, I go and land my mace straight on its head and smash straight through to the other side. Its head goes rolling off the side of the embankment and down into the water, and my mace just carries straight on through, and I lose balance slightly and fall down and bring my mace down on his knee and start smashing up the second one's knee.
Okay. Fantastic. All right, Lauren, you're up.
Stop sharing the stunt screen now. Lorengar, kind of realizing he is horribly out of position. He's only got the one option really, unless anything else presents itself, and that's to go up to help his mates out. Like I say, unless something presents itself. No, yeah, nothing presents itself. Next to taking out the upper level, which would really involve bringing the dwarves down here as well. So he's going to climb. So Lorengar is going to pretty much be spending this turn climbing, I guess.
Oh, so you just made your action to climb one up.
So essentially, just.
All right, Durgden, you are up. Your dwarven friend Seth has laid low one of these with a mighty blow.
Alright, I have a quick question for you. Does all-out attack, so that makes it easier for me to get hit the following turn, but it gives me a bonus damage? Is that what it does?
I believe so, yes.
Alright, we're going to go with that. I'm going to choose the one he hit in the kneecap and do an all-out brazen attack on it, slamming my body into him and trying to maul him with the axe.
Okay.
Here we go. Shit. 4, 6. It's going to be 10.
That'll hit.
Bam. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 5, 8 plus 4 plus 1, so 13 points of damage.
All right, you jack that one up pretty good. Still alive, but it looks like its head is just kind of hanging on by a thread.
So what it looks like is I throw my body into him, he recoils a bit, I slash him with my axe and then headbutt him. And I hear bells in my head and I start to like sway a little bit, knocked off kilter from headbutting this mass. So I'm a little bit slower on my feet for the next turn.
Okay.
Nice one.
So, the one that you just slashed at was going to swing at you. I believe 14 hits.
Oh yeah.
And he's got some stunt points to spend, so he will. Let's see. I think we'll try to skirmish twice and see if we can push you into the drink. And mighty blow. No. Swarm tactics, skirmish. That's what we're going to do. Swarm tactics and skirmish twice. So the one adjacent to you, the other one that's able to attack. We get an attack as well. 11, does an 11 hit?
It does, yep.
Alright, so I'll roll their damage. They do dick for damage, but it pushes you into the water.
So it hits the side of my leather armor, and I go, oh, that tickles! And then it hits me, and I go diving in.
That'll be 4 points of penetrating upon hitting the water. So, as you crest the steps, Lorengar, Durgan decides it's his turn to clean up a little bit.
Now, unfortunately, I still have the rope tied to me.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Oh,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake.
Go ahead, make a strength check. Now,
Just a sec.
this one might be a touch more difficult since the dwarf is bigger.
Okay, let's see what I get. 18 with a 6 stunt dice.
Your rotund frame does not budge.
I go staggering back towards the edge, but managed to sort of dig my feet into the earth.
So the other two actually make their attacks, going to miss, and the one in the water that was trying to pull itself up besides that fresh meat has just arrived and turns to move towards you, Durgan. 10. 11? That should hit. I hit last time. And it's going to do 6 points of damage.
Okay.
And that's it for the zombies. So back to the top. Seth, savior of the universe.
I'll just carry on with my tactic. It seems to be working all right so far. The straight attacks. So.
Got this, man.
6, 9, 14, 19.
That'll hit.
Yep, and no stunt dice on this one, so it's just 2d6. 10 plus my strength is 13.
How do you kill this one?
So, I swing forwards, miss it, but headbutt it in the nuts. And as I'm getting up, I just sort of accidentally bull gore it and send it flying over the side. Oh no, actually, it's as you like.
So you hear its jaw shatter, neck snap from the force, and it plummets down into the water. So there's 2 down. And 2 left. Lorengar, you're up. All right. So there's only 1 up top still and 1 down in the water with Durgan.
Yeah, okay. This is where I hope I roll lucky. Oh, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do. That's 19 and 5 on the stunt dice.
Yeah, that'll hit. Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay, I'm gonna pick. Is my dexterity higher than these people?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm picking lethal blow.
Okay.
Because my dex is higher than this thing's as well, I get an extra d6 on the damage as well.
Alright, so you have 3d6 plus 4d6 plus your accuracy damage. Alright, fuck it up, man.
You got the elf angry, I'm sorry. So 4d6 plus 4. That should kill it. 24 damage.
Yeah, you just drop this one outright. What's that look like?
It's basically as Seth kind of rears up and wants to think that this like lumbering mass of death is sat there, and all of a sudden the arrow just kind of hits it. It doesn't move for a minute. It just drops. And you just hear a stitch that, you fucking cunts.
All right, excellent. Durban, now you're in the water with this zombie.
Okay, so I fall in, he hits me. All of a sudden, you see me bust out of the top of the water, kind of like a dolphin coming out, and I fling my beard in slow motion. You can see like water particles flying off of it. It's really majestic. And above my head, I have the great axe poised for an attack, and I'm going to try to come down right on top of the zombie. Five, 9, 10. So that would be 14.
All right.
Oh, hell yes. 6, 10. So it'll be 14 damage.
All right, so how do you cleave this thing in twain?
Alright, so I come jumping out like that, my beard glorious and majestic, axe high above my head, come down, middle of the forehead, and just, like peeling a banana, right down the center. He disappears underwater for a sec, and then both halves bob up and start floating away from me in opposite directions.
Awesome. Excellent. All right, so you guys are out of initiative order now. All those bloated, fetid corpses are, as far as you know, fully deceased.
All right, so I'll swim over to the ladder and I guess I have to pull myself out on the edge first.
All right, and real quick, since you spin around in the water, it's 4 points penetrating damage. I think you got the max roll twice now.
8, 9, and that's strength based and climbing, so it'd be 15.
Yep, you haul yourself straight out.
So coughing and incredibly angry at how bad the water has hurt me.
I think I got some of it in my mouth.
You're alive, ain't you?
You can just hear something shaking down below on the bottom deck.
Lorengar will wander up to the, well, one zombie that has an arrow in it.
Okay.
Well done, Elf. You gave that one a worse hangover than old Durgren's Aunt Gertrude's homebrew, I reckon.
That was almost a first.
Well done. Good shot.
It's alright, lad. To be honest, I think you did more damage than I did. In fact, I think you did more damage than anybody did. In fact,
You fucking right proper.
In fact, I think you've got red on you. Just. I don't ever think this is going to be the last of the fucks.
So I crest to the top of the dock.
I think we know what happens at the adventuring parties.
Is this the adventuring party, do you reckon?
No, they're too decomposed for that.
So you do get up top, Durgan.
Yep, I pick up my wet gun and stick it in my belt loop. I know it's useless, but I'm going to take it back and try to fix it at some point.
Okay.
I'll just need reloading, lad.
Oh, as old Gertrude used to say, drop your piece in the water and you're never sure if it'll work again. Sometimes it just seizes up.
And as he says seizes up, you think he's talking about the gun, but he once again readjusts his pants.
You're incorrigible. I'm glad there's no women. I'm glad there's no lady fuck here to hear some of the language coming out of us. Needless to say,
speaking of lady,
he hears ladies, and you just see him go like this, and he goes,
I hear things about ladies on the second floor.
Well, we
The
got
ladies are always. The ladies on the second floor are always curvier.
Yeah, and the the curves are very bottom heavy with his description
Yeah,
of
yeah.
You guys get yourselves all sorted out and begin to proceed onward. And again, you can feel the ground more sturdy beneath you and see those remnants of cobblestones. And off in the distance, slowly approaching, it looks like there's two barriers on either side. Then you realize that this may have once been a road, but the barriers have seen far better days, beat up, haggard, chipped away, parts missing entirely. And following this path for about another 20 minutes or so, you come upon what may be the remnants of the village that was rumored to be here some 200 years ago. There's a few shacks in such disrepair. One looks a little better than the other, figuratively speaking, as good as something can look, having put up with this beating. And there's planks, old wheels, tipped buckets, perhaps what looks like a well off in the distance through the fall. But it's far from anything it used to be.
Do you see any of those cat skins around? I ask
Yeah, Lorigar's already looking.
Lorigar.
Give me a second. Let's have a look. Perception check, I'm going to assume. Dooba-dooba-doo. $13.
Yeah, you spot another one, but you do notice that it's bent over and pressed into the ground underneath what looks like a footprint.
Ah, shite. Cat skins ain't no use anymore with the amount of wandering, shambling beasties around. I can't even tell which way this one's pointing. I can take a rough estimate, but the trail ends here. We're gonna have to make our own. Fair comment?
As you're talking, lightning striking periodically, and it looks like off in the distance you can see high walls, perhaps towers connecting them, and then in those briefest glimpse it's gone.
Well, that ain't ominous at all. Shall we work towards it, lads?
You hear like a really low crunching, and if you turn around, what you see is that Durgden has put one of the entire cloves of garlic in his mouth and is now eating it, and the string is like kind of snagged between his teeth. And he goes,
Aye, the faster we get out of here, the better.
Then we go.
I'm feeling sorry.
Sorry.
I'm feeling sorry for those. Sorry. After you.
No. I was trying to say after you, but.
Alright then. Just very quickly. I'm feeling sorry for those women on the second level seeing the garlic in his mouth.
They won't feel so much sorry when you throw enough money at them. They forget all about the garlic. He just takes another arrow loose and tests everything, make sure that it's all working, and then it's just. Let's see if I can find this fox. Towards the big ominous building, eh?
I like your logic, elf.
Somebody has to be the secret one around here.
as you hear another crunch. Second clove's missing.
So, having steeled yourselves, you begin to head off in that direction. And again, there seems to be some remnants of a path leading that way. The barriers on either side intermittently in a state of disrepair. And a little time later, the village fading behind you, or what's left of it, swallowed up by the mist. And two large towers present themselves before you. There's about a 35-foot stone wall in height, reaching out to either side, disappearing into the fog. There's a big open portcullis before you. You can see kind of peeking out of the portculus what looks like rusted iron bars. The gate probably long since stuck fast. And there is a courtyard you can kind of make out through.
Dugden, do you think that portcullis is still working?
So we both start looking at it. I guess engineering.
Yeah, you can use that.
So,
Oh, shit. Some bad rolls.
You're pretty sure it's stuck.
17, 18, 19.
You're pretty sure with tinkering around, you might be able to get it to work, assuming you could find the lever. But Durgan's like, no. Oh, no.
Yeah, Durgan says something like,
Rusted to a stop.
It's rusted, but it could be forced with a big enough lever, I reckon.
Mayhaps.
Happen it will.
So
Shall we
what
carry on?
Sweat it hard enough, you're able to close the gates.
So you guys pass under this portcullis into the
I'll just look through my pack and get out a spike and try and put a spike in place to stop the portcullis coming all the way down if somebody releases it.
Okay.
Or however many spikes my engineering reckons I need to stop the weight of the portcullis.
See, so it's fairly large. So you imagine it'd take quite a few, perhaps the entirety of the supply you have in your pack. So you have about 6 of them in there. 6 pittons, some climbing spikes.
Shall I make sure that it doesn't close? Actually, if I can climb up, what's the wall like? If I can climb up to the portcullis, I can probably.
It's wet, slick stone.
If it was gonna close, lad, it would have closed already.
And you can see, there's a thick layer of moist rust over these iron bars. But as far as you're concerned, it could be brought into functionality. As far as just dropping on its own right now, seeing the thickness of that rust almost like growing into the stone, it seems unlikely.
Well, if it's that rusted, we can probably break through it if it does fall.
There you go.
Find a weak spot to
if
break
anybody's
through.
going to be using it, it's most likely going to be us when we're trying to run out of this shithole. If it comes to that. You want to take the spikes away now, lad, eh?
I'll
Put that
leave
mind
it.
to work
I'll
on
leave it.
how best to close it if we need to.
So you guys walk in, and perhaps Seth has jammed some pittons into the side, just safety first. And you see an old stables. The thatch roof long since rotted away. There's a bit of overhang from some of the stone. Some tipped over barrels in there, rusted horseshoes. There's various other buildings, perhaps once supply sheds and things of the sort, falling apart. And off on the other side, you see the large tower itself. Looks to be about 4 stories in height, you guesstimate. Much bigger than the keep that the Steel Legion has. In fact, you could probably fit theirs just inside the courtyard.
Large tower.
I bet that's where that mage used to live.
Pointing at the top with a stubby broken finger. And there's kind of like an ominous echo of used to. Used to, used to, used to.
Yep. Yep. And the rain comes down.
You just had to fucking say used to, didn't you? Another arrow gets unlocked and just kind of, it's held loosely. Even as he's like walking, he's now walking with that cautious air, as just looking for more shufflers, or whatever you want to call them, just keeping eyes open. Playing the scout game is in full effect. It's just.
So you don't see anything immediately. It seems that you are the only living things in here, as far as you know, probably the only living things for, according to what you've read, 200 years.
Pick up a horseshoe. It might count towards that 25 gold.
So, sure enough, you guys come upon the large doors. The only thing keeping you from entering the keep, bound in iron, also quite rusty. I assume you guys knock.
It is not Lorengar's modus operandi to knock, so he's not thinking about doing it. He's looking for a way in.
Durgden is skilled in communication etiquette, so he knows what to do in these situations.
Leave it to me.
He steps forward and pulls out his axe and charges at it and attacks the door.
Okay. Just go ahead and roll me some damage real quick.
3 2s.
Okay. Yeah, you
6 plus, so it'd be 10 points of damage, I guess.
Yeah, your axe comes careening in and finds that wedge between the doors, and as it hits, expecting all this resistance, they just swing open on creaking hinges.
You could have just tried to see if it was unlocked first.
He kind of shrugs.
It's polite to knock.
Just kind of pushes the door a little more.
So as they swing open, you see a large hall before you, similar to what's in your guild, but just on a far grander scale. There's 50-foot vaulted ceilings. It looks like there's some stained glass mosaics on either side. And on the far, far end of the hall, you believe you can make out what looks like an old throne. There's some upturned tables, knocked over chairs, various other things of the sort that one might find. Shattered vases, etc.
And not a sign of a scouting group.
And as you guys all enter, you hear once more, and the door shut behind you. And you believe you can hear the sound of a beating heart. Perhaps it's your own heart racing. Then you think, oh no, it's a steady thrum. It almost feels like the walls pulse and the floor vibrates beneath your feet. And it's gone.
I say again, we could just go back the way we came. Say we found nothing. Take the hit to our reputation. But be alive. But none of us are that sensible.
Aye, we could. I say, walking on. Straightening down my beard.
I'm drawn like magnetically to this throne.
All right.
I'm keeping my eyes open for anything suspicious because I don't trust it.
As
And I'm looking up at the stained glass windows, trying to see what images there are in them.
You're looking for the rude pictures, aren't you? I know you.
It looks like a few different religious mosaics depicting a few different gods. But one in particular just doesn't seem to fit. The one directly behind the throne, it looks like a tall figure clad in black, a robe, perhaps. You can't really make out a face, but it looks like there's a skeletal hand peeking out, as if gesturing out over the land before it.
So when I get up to the front of the throne, I'll say to myself,
Oh, go on, have a seat, Durgden.
and I'll jump right up on it.
So the throne is made out of carved wood. It's got some, extravagant work built into it, and a moldy, dust, moth-eaten, ridden bearskin draped over it for cushion. Comfortable, I guess.
So looking out over the ruins of the room, I just think to myself,
This is what it's gonna be like on the second floor, only fine, kept up surroundings, and women bringing me grapes and fans and smoking.
and you can see me like lay back in it, kind of like the troubled king, resting my hand on my arm.
So, as you sit down on the throne and you all kind of get closer, you do see there's a door off to the right of the throne, and it too is iron-bound, moldy wood, slightly rusted, but having been protected from the elements, it is in better condition than most things that you've seen.
I'll give it a small push just to make sure it's locked.
It is not locked. But as you were to open the door, you would see a set of stairs present themselves. It's a large landing initially, and then stairs kind of creeping up around this large, probably about 25 foot by 25 foot circular or square room, and about 35 feet or so above you, you can see wood laid out as if there's another level.
The only way is up. Are you done farting around, lads?
I'll let off a fart and come and join him.
Yeah, I'll jump off the throne and kind of pat it as I walk away.
I'll be back.
Now, Dugden, you get more and more disturbing the closer we get to actual riches.
So as you guys enter this room and begin to ascend the stairs, you kind of hear it again. The low, steady thump, 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 of a heartbeat, just very faint. And again, you swear you can see the walls pulse and feel the boards vibrate beneath your feet. If someone is so inclined, you may make a perception check.
I shall do such a thing.
It would be sight related.
Yay!
I will make one too. I'll be looking round As he proceeds, Seth is looking round carefully.
Okay. 14. All right. Durgan, you will notice it.
What did I put in?
12.
Seth, unfortunately, you will not.
This seems to be the way of things.
And you will also notice it. So you're about halfway up at this point. You're kind of looking around, again, as you swear you hear that eerie pulsing. Then when you look down, it appears that the door is shut behind you, yet no one did so, and you didn't hear it.
There's something wrong here.
Oh, you think?
You can hear me. You can hear my teeth chattering and me literally quaking in my boots.
Oh.
They probably brought this to your attention, I would assume, also, Seth. So by this point, you two would maybe notice the door below.
I didn't close that door.
Shall we go down and see if we can open it? I think it would be a good idea, but I don't actually want to be the one that finds out it doesn't open.
Okay, here I go.
And I'll turn around and slowly start with like a finger out, like I'm gonna poke a bear or something. And as I get close to the door, I'm gonna go ahead and flop the finger at the handle.
It jiggles, but it seems steadfast now.
Let me at it, I say, coming down and trying to open the door myself. You didn't really put your shoulder into it. This is the way to do it. And I slam my shoulder against the door.
And you promptly bounce right off.
Oh.
The only way is up, like I said.
He's right. Here we go.
We gotta go wherever the castle wants us to go right now. Castle wants us to go this way. We go this way.
Yeah, so I'll walk back up the stairs, keeping my axe to my side, like out in front of me.
Yep. Seth takes out his mace and says, I don't like doing what a castle says, but I guess I've got no option.
But give me a minute.
He'll spit on bits of the castle.
And so Beauregard like quietly lifts his canteen. But he's definitely the one keeping a cool head so nobody else loses their shit right now. So let's just we gotta go forward.
Yeah, you hear like a cartoon gulp as I walk up the stairs.
So as you guys ascend the stairs and the opening presents itself and you crest it, you see laid before you is a large room where there is an armoire, writing desk, a table, a large four-pillared bed with moth-eaten drapery hanging over it, goose feathers splayed around, bearskin rugs. Everything's dusty, moldy. But this looks like it belonged to whoever ruled the keep.
I'll have a look in the armoire and see what kind of, if there are any traces of the kind of clothes they wore. Is it male or female? I guess it's the same. Is there a black robe like in the stained glass?
You find a few different articles of clothing. Again, not in any type of wearable condition. From the looks of it, though, it was male. And this once might have been some pretty fine finery silk of sorts. If anybody else would like to have a look around, you certainly can.
Yeah, I'll have a good route around. Why the hell not? Have a good explore. See if
Anyone good at writing? Have a look on the writing desk.
Durden can't write.
I'm
He can
not-
barely read.
I can put two and two together. Let's have a look. See if anything catches my eye. Good old investigation.
Okay. So, as you rummage around in the desk, you find various different papers and notebooks, things on different subjects, and what looks like a journal of sorts as well amongst all that.
We just have a quick flick through the journal, see if we can get a sense of whose room this is. There we go.
So, as you're looking around in there, there's various different entries in the journal. Nothing too extravagant, some day-to-day happenings. But as you near the end, the writing seems to be getting a little more absurd, like the ravings of a madman. And you get to the last page, and it says, "The land is cursed. Death lives here now, and death takes his toll. Death cannot be defeated. When the last living thing breathes its last, when the stars wink out, and the gods fade into oblivion, death is still here."
Come on, Gecko. Still
So-
need to look.
While you're reading that, by the way, Durden is walking over and trying to get down on his knees to look underneath the bed.
So,
Goodbye, Durgden.
doing some snooping around, you do find a few different odds and ends, and you end up finding some crimson stains. And from the looks of it, they're relatively fresh. Upon closer inspection, you'll see, looking around, that there's a drop here, a drop there, a little smear here, and it all leads back to the armoire.
So, kind of like perusing over the drops, I'm saying to myself, I don't think somebody was sloppily eating a jelly sandwich. As I'm following it around the room.
And as he's kind of getting closer to the armoire, right, stop, walk over to the armoire.
And now that you're all focusing on the armoire and I'm looking it, I've already looked in it for the clothes, haven't I?
Yes.
Lad.
Yep. I suddenly realise that what everybody else has sort of narrowed in on. I'm looking through these clothes and suddenly look down at the blood and start looking around, looking for the source of it.
It looks as though the blood drops head underneath, and then they're out of sight.
This sounds real. Just
You hear it again, the pulsing of a heart, this time louder, more definitive in your ears. Thump, 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 thump. And you believe you see the armoire quake, the floorboards vibrate, the walls thrum. There's no mistaking it for what it is now.
I'm looking for the switch. My character's now horribly convinced there's a trapdoor or something under this armoire. Or around the armoire. He's like, nope. Yep, no, something's got to be here.
So, as you further examine it, you believe you can see what looks like planks beneath the armoire, heading up, like the bottom of a door.
Trapdoor here.
If someone were to push it aside, it would reveal a door behind it.
So
You can see the speckles of blood.
Actually, lads, my bow's not going to be much use. You guys want to get ready? I'll move the thing.
I'll pull out my axe.
my mace is ready.
I will move.
My mace hangover is in my hand, ready to bring hangovers and share hangovers to all around.
Beautiful.
And I will be the one to move the armoire.
Alright, so when you push it aside, you reveal the door.
And I shall move and open the door so that the people who have bashy implements are directly facing whatever it is that's in there.
So as the door swings open, inside the room you see it's about 15 feet on the side, and there's shelves running the length of the wall, all kinds of different layers of them. And back in either corner of the room, you see what looks like a large skeleton. Perhaps maybe it was belonging to that of an ogre, held up by wires like an anatomy example. There's another one over to the left, perhaps human in size, a dwarf, one that you think may be a human, perhaps another elf. And on all these different shelves, you see jars in various sizes, shapes, and makes. And bobbing around in these jars, you see pickled eyes, livers, tongues, brains, various different parts of organs from all different types of creatures, some you don't recognize. And you hear it again, loud. And you see one large jar up in the corner. In that jar is a heart, a large heart. And as the pulses beat through the floor, you swear you see that heart beating. And they're coming faster and faster. There's a desk in here as well with different implements on it. Books of all varieties. One book, however, stands out to you, Seth. What is this book? What is it that you see?
It is a book on the use of body parts in brewing, which seems a very strange book.
All right, so yeah, you see the a book of that, and you know that it's very old, not something in practice anymore. Could be of value.
Necromantic Brewery, it's called.
Exactly.
I'll take that one.
All right. So, Seth, you step deeper into the room and reach out and grab this book. And as that happens,
Does the door close behind me?
it does not, but you hear the heartbeat even louder, like thunder. And the jars begin to shake, and you can hear the glass clattering and clanging up against each other. The bones begin to vibrate and jiggle, and they, one by one, faster and faster, begin to fall and cascade down into the ground and shatter, spilling their vile contents throughout the floor. And the skeletons crumble down into each other. And a few moments later, it looks as though these bones and organs begin to coalesce and take shape and rise up in front of you. And within moments, there's a towering figure, 10 feet in height, 4 arms, it looks like, 2 ending in large, nasty, jagged, bone-like blades. And atop it is that large head from perhaps the ogre, perhaps a giant skeleton, and the eyes almost seem to flicker with life. So you go ahead and roll initiative now as this bone golem lumbers forward. And you hear it thump, 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 thump. And you see that large heart kind of get sucked into its chest.
Fuck. Fuck.
Oh.
Fuck.
Let me get this sorted here. So what we got? 11, 13, and 14. All right, so set. Oh, no.
I do add my dex, don't I, to initiative?
Yes, yes, you do. What would that put it at?
No, that's correct. I've added it. I've included it.
All right, so Lorengar, you're going to go first, followed by Seth, followed by Durgan, and then this creature.
Well, as I'm in the advantageous position to shoot it, I'm going to shoot it. I want no part of being near that thing. I'm going to shoot it. Really a lot.
Okay.
Oh, hello, baby. I'll take.
You say 13?
No, I said I'll take that. 21.
Oh, yeah, that's going
With
to hit.
a 6 on the stun dice.
All right, 6 stomp points. All right. Oh, Lord.
Let's spend them. I shall spend 1 point to pierce armor
Okay.
because of my
So I'll cut its armor in half.
Spend another 2 to put me in defensive stance.
Okay.
1 more to make it a mighty blow. That leaves me 1 more point, doesn't it?
Yep.
No, mighty blow is 2 more. Sorry, no. Sorry, that's it. That's all of it spent.
You're going to pierce armor. mighty blow. And what was the defensive stance?
I know, yeah. That leaves me one more. I shall use my last point to rapid reload.
No, that'll be 6. 6
Yeah.
points. All 3 of those were 2 if you're doing Pierce Armor, Mighty Blow, defensive
No,
stance.
Pierce Armor only costs me 1 because of my 2nd level rogue ability.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay. All right, excellent. So lay it on.
I'm going to assume this thing has less dexterity than me.
It does.
Oh, good. So I'm rolling 2d6, 3d6, plus something. Yeah. And I'm halving its armor. I'm assuming it's got.
Safe assumption.
Hmm. 18 points of damage.
All right. Good hit. Good hit.
I'm gonna, I could have lethal blowed it, but I thought the halving of its armor was more worthwhile.
Yeah. All right. So after Lorengar will be Seth.
Okay, Seth will just try hitting it with its mace, aiming at the bit where the heart disappeared into it.
Okay.
Oh, pathetic. 10 with a stunt dice of 1.
That is going to miss.
Okay.
And Durgden.
Yeah, Durgden will leap forward with his great axe and go for a blow in the same area, aiming at the chest. 14.
All right.
7, 8. So that does 12 points of damage, and I get to knock him 2 yards. So I'll just push him back further into the room.
All right. All right. So with one large step, he kind of moves backwards, but ultimately unfazed. And with one long stride, another long stride, he's back on top of you, Durgden. And Seth would likely be opposite. And he brings his massive sword arm bone blade up and lashes out. I believe that will hit. So does 14 hit you, Seth? Yeah.
My defense is 14, so
All
what
right.
is that? Mm-hmm.
So that does 10 points of damage.
And what does my armor do? Does that reduce it?
So it'll be 10 minus your armor, and then whatever's left is how much you take.
Okay.
And then it's going to lash out once more with its other arm. This time aiming for the other dwarf. 12.
Yep, 12 hits.
Also for 10 points of damage.
Okay.
And then it'll go back to the top, which will be Lorengar. Or no. Yeah, Lorengar.
Rinse, wash, and repeat. Shoot the fucker. There's something to aim for. I'm going to aim for it.
So your 2 stout dwarves have charged into the fray.
18 with
Yeah, that'll hit.
with
That'll hit.
3 on my stunt dice. Again, spend 1 for pierce armor. I can't rapid reload.
Mighty blow.
Yeah, mighty blow again. Leaves me. Yeah, that's it. Mighty blow. And I hope I roll well. So there's another 3d6. This one isn't quite as good. 13.
13 points of damage. Alright, so another arrow.
And I'll use my minor action to reload.
Okay. Alright, then I'll go to you, Seth.
So, Seth will say, "We'll distract it while you hit it with arrows," and we'll just try and bash at it again, bash at its heart. Um, 15.
No hit.
Okay. I don't get any stunt dice, so it's a straight damage. It's just a glancing blow. I do it 8 points.
Okay. Indeed it is. Doesn't seem overly affected by that.
Mm-hmm.
And Durgden.
Alright, so I come back again over the head with another great axe attack. 13.
No hit.
I get 5 points of stunt.
Oh,
So
shit.
I'll use that to do the 2 extra d6.
Lethal blow.
Yup. So I do.
Yeah, you may as well, man. It's worth it.
I'm a pretty big fan of
15.
lightning attack myself.
Alright, so it does 24 points of damage, and I'm going to knock him back 2 yards this time and aim him at the table.
Damn. Alright. See, that, you see like a big chunk of bone and flesh peel away with that hit, too. Then is the golem's turn, and he kind of staggers back under that massive blow, and you hear the thump, 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 thump of a pulsing heart, and you can see his chest jump with each beat. And it looks as though the flesh kind of begins to regrow or knit itself back together of sorts. Does that, and then he's going to step forward, swinging hard at the dwarf with the axe that just cleaved into him. So 12,
Yup, 12 hits.
and he's going to spend his stunt point. He's got a mighty blow. He's got 2 stunt points. And that'll do 14 points of damage.
Oh, ouch.
And then it'll go back to Loringar.
Fucking hell. $18 with 6 on the stunt dice.
Are you fucking serious? 6 more stunt points? This guy. That'll hit, yeah.
I'm just getting lucky, mate. I really am. I'm really. That's why I've kind of like wore this look as if say, huh? But I'm gonna spend my. Spend my points a little differently. Pierce armor, because why the hell not? Set
Right.
up on Sam.
Okay.
Knock prone.
Okay.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rapid reload.
Okay.
So what setup does for you is that you can receive a +2 on your ability test of your choice. Bear that in mind. Oh, dwarven person. I'm knocked it prone, which means
It's
one is going to spend a turn getting sitting up, and any character making melee can't attack against the prone foe gets +1 attack bonus on its next attack roll.
So who did you give the bonus to?
You.
Okay.
Sorry, I forget your name.
Okay, Seth. Oh,
Seth.
Caius
Sorry.
Seth.
Seth.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's 3 in the
No
morning.
problem.
My brain just went.
No, no, I get you.
Yeah. So Seth, you get the +2, but you're both getting a +1 because I've knocked it prone. I'm only going to be rolling 2d6. For a total of 7 damage.
Okay.
But to be honest, what I wanted to do, everything I want to do happened on that one because I just want to set up the dwarves to hit it harder.
So you see it kind of stumble back and drop to a knee as the arrow hits it. And then it'll go to Seth. I assume you want to use that +2 to hit?
Yes, yes.
You
Does
got
it?
+3 then.
Mhm.
With it being prone.
Does it look more? Does it look injured at all, or does it seem
Well,
to be
definitely,
regenerating?
it was. You guys were definitely smashing away at it, not bits of bone flying and organs everywhere, and Durgan coming and just cleaved off a chunk of that damn thing, and then you heard that heart pulse, and it looked like it began to knit itself back together, and some of the bits and pieces that were knocked off, almost kind of their own accord, were moving back towards the golem.
Hmm. Is there a window in here?
No.
Okay, then I'll just hit it and I'll shout out, "Is there a window in the bedroom?" But I'll just strike out at it as normal.
Okay.
Elf, is there a window in the bedroom?
I can't answer that question just yet.
I've rolled well, including all the bonuses. My attack is 16, 24 with a 6 stunt dice.
Yeah, that'll hit. That'll hit, man. All these fucking 6 stunts. Jesus Christ.
The dice like us right now.
They want that thing dead, apparently.
But I think we want that thing dead.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do with these stump points?
I'll do.
The lethal and mighty blow are going to be your extra damages.
I'll do lethal blow and stay aware, making a perception check. You focus on your choice. If you succeed, the GM may either make you aware of some battlefield situation that has escaped your notice, or give you a +1 attack on your next thing. So it's basically to see if I can see any sort of any chink in the armor or any way of um, any weak point that this golem thing seems to have.
Yes. You do notice.
No, he's got to make a test.
I've got to make a test. It's an
Oh, yes,
11 perception first. So let me see. I'll roll that perception now. 11, exactly.
So you do notice that there is a thick part, of bone like forming around where the heart is at in that mass. But, maybe coming up underneath, you could get at it. So now you know that there's a special stunt called Pierce the Heart. It costs 3 stunt points. And if you use that, it'll completely ignore its armor.
Can I do that instead of my... I said that I was doing...
Unfortunately not. Go around. It's kind of all happening in one swift movement.
Okay, fair enough. So I'll go for my straight lethal blow. So... That's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13... No, 6, 8, 13, 16 damage.
Damn, another thunderous boom from the hangover.
And I'll shout to the I'll shout to my allies, go for pierce the heart. Try to pierce the heart.
There would be Durgan.
Yeah, Durgan will hear pierce the heart and cock a smile and come back in again with the axe. 11, 12, 16.
Oh yeah, that would hit.
10, 13, 17 points of damage.
All right, so you cleave into this thing, burying your axe in its head, and it crumbles to the ground in just a mass of bones and goo.
I'll scratch my head and say, "Is its heart in its head?"
Who knows with something like that? Does it seem to be regenerating at all?
It does. It does,
Right.
in fact, seem to be regenerating.
Carry on.
So that's literally all it can do at this point. But you're going to be out of initiative, and it looks as though it's reforming itself.
I'll just take out an axe and try and stab the heart.
Excellent. So everybody blasts away at the heart.
Yeah,
And
just
as that happens, the sound of the heartbeat begins to fade. The pulsing and the keep getting weaker until it's no more. And the mass that has started rolling back together just kind of slumps and spreads out across the ground.
and when it does that,
Climb into
Seth.
the small room. Sorry, Seth.
No, sorry, I just missed what you said at the beginning. Could you
Origar
just
was just
repeat?
climbing into the room. And now he'll climb into the room once it's dead.
Okay, and Seth, covered in the gloop and gore from whatever it is we've killed, looks up at last, once it's all just smeared all over the walls and all over the dwarf, and says, "Whatever it is, it's dead."
So at this point, you guys are free to ransack the room and do whatever the hell it is you want.
Pick a couple of books, because that'll go towards the total. And so, that's a historical artifact. Oh, that's a historical artifact. Oh, that's a historical artifact.
And you find some old texts.
Just put them in something that's waterproof, just in case we end up taking a dip in the swamp again.
Yep.
Do I see any books on like smithing or anything?
You do.
Then you might want to.
Yes, I'll start washing myself down.
Yeah, I'll pull out a potion and just bite the top and like crunch the glass, spit it on the ground, and just pour it on my face.
You feel the warm, soothing energies begin to course through your body.
Oh, good. I needed that.
So it seems after this had happened, you guys thoroughly ransack the room and you find some different historical artifacts, perhaps a few things that you might find of personal value, like a book on smithing or on necromantic brewing.
Or also just an old book on brewing as well, some lost recipes.
Sure. Maybe you find some maps better showing the lay of that land.
Cool.
And in all due haste, you eventually exit the swamp. When you leave, it seems as though the rain has gotten lighter and the fog has subsided slightly. Sure enough, you make your way back to the Guild of the Steel Legion, looking maybe a little worse for wear, stinking of dead things.
Garlic.
Probably booze a little bit as well, because let's face it, I think we've all had a drink after that.
And coming down the stairs, you see the familiar form of Octavius. And he greets you. Well, gentlemen, I assume that the task is done.
Just Lorengar's reaction is to open up his pack, pull out the bag full of historical trinkets, and just
his eyes widen just for the briefest of moment, just a little bit, and then once more, that stern visage is there. Well done.
show him the rest. yeah, and now show him the rest.
I get out the book on necromantic brewing and old brass mantle special brew recipes, and I grumbling put them down.
So,
and perhaps almost ominously, the elf probably reaches in and pulls out a piece of heart about this big by this big.
fantastic. So,
because that's what the mage was actually after when he sent us out there.
yes, he was. So Octavius does take the heart, almost straight away from you.
You be fucking careful with that.
Don't worry about me.
That's not you I'm worried about. It's whoever you're fucking giving it to.
So he just kind of gives you guys a once over. Yeah, he's like, well, the noble who inquired about the historical documents will be along shortly to sift through what is of value and what is not.
And in which
case,
pass the brewing book to Seth, pass the smithing book to Dergar, and I took the little map. I think the rest should do fine, don't you?
He turns and walks up the stairs, and once you press the second floor, he turns and looks down at you. He says, again, gentlemen, fantastic work. It won't be too much longer. Perhaps a few more jobs of this caliber, and you'll be able to ascend with me. And he turns and walks away.
One question. Can I have a taste of the beer on the second level to inspire me and spur me on.
All in due time.
Oh,
And he's
I
gone.
hate due time.
So as he walks away, I just stand watching him go up that pearly ascent. Lucky bastard.
And Lorigov, his part, just starts laughing. It's like, yeah, a few more jobs, I'm sure.
And gentlemen, that is the end of your ventures into the Fell Shrine Swamp, discovering the ruins. You have successfully went into the fray and returned, for better or worse, unscathed. Well, I hope you guys had a good time. I hope anybody watching or who chooses to watch this enjoys it. I had a fantastic time running the game for these gents who accompanied me. I hope you guys had fun and enjoyed the system. I love it. Anybody who hasn't got a chance to try out the age system, do it. And I will be trying to run some more games with it, and you are more than welcome to come join me. Experienced, novice, you name it, I'll take them all. Once again, check me out at Gaming in Gotham on YouTube, Gaming in Gotham at WordPress, and I'll let these gents plug anything that they have and say their piece. And I'll pass it over directly to my left, which will be Caius.
I'd just like to say thanks for letting me join the group. I'm a complete novice, but I've enjoyed myself the last few hours. I've had a great time, and it's actually nice to be in a group with a couple of people I've seen on YouTube, though I've never met them before. And just a question for you, Heath. Are you
Sure.
being topless just to go your own way against the last recommendations on the one-shot group saying no topless?
Well, the way I see it, it's my damn house, and if I don't want to wear a shirt, I ain't going to wear a shirt. So be damned, I'm more comfortable. It's nice and cool.
Go for it. If they say don't do it, do it. That's what I say. But nothing else to add. On to Andrew.
Alright, so I'll begin the litany of plugs. Andrew Knapp, SRT Joker on YouTube, Lowshanks Blogspot, check those out. Check out the OSG, check out the W3, check out Gaming with Gotham. Thanks to Heath Wanamaker for running the game. It was fun playing with you, Caius, and Ben. I've never played with either of you before. I really enjoyed it. I thought the game was excellent. Thanks everybody that watched. And I guess that's all the plugs.
I'm going to be the boring one now.
Well, last but certainly not least.
Yes. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for looking at our darling, gorgeous faces. Thanks for listening to my atrocious Scottish accent. Thank you for watching us gallivant around the swamp and get mucky. I hope you've all enjoyed yourself. I have nothing to plug. I'm Ben. Hi. I'm beautiful. Look at me. Worship. And thank you very much to Heath for running the game. The Age, this is the second time I've played Age, and both times have been a blast. So.
All right, well, fantastic. Thank you for the kind words, and that will be all for now, folks. So until next time, stay safe and always watch over your shoulder in the streets of Gotham.